What's good, everybody? AB Media 83 here, and today you probably see a little rant. Um, I just watched an interview with um, Mayor Eric Adams, and he pretty much confirmed that BGS is right. Joe Biden, with help of the federal government, wanted these illegal migrants to be here, and he literally forced Eric Adams to fund. Oh, actually, Adric, I have to shout him out because he dropped a lot of truth bombs in this Fox News interview, which I'm about to play now. Let's see, share screen. He drops a lot of truth bombs in this interview right here. That happens to be on Fox News, and he's been, believe it or not, he's been working with Trump and the Trump's border czar to get illegal migrants out of the country. And well, I'll let Eric Adams speak for himself.
We had a big election, obviously, in November of 2024. There are a lot of prominent Democrats who are speaking out of what they're referring to as a real wake-up call for your party. Let's watch some of these voices, and then I want to get your reaction, Mayor.
Donald Trump is not an idiot.
No shit. You just now figuring that out? Crying Jones?
Why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats, you lost. You got your butts whipped.
Well,
Own it. Live with it. Accept
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the Democratic Party is at this particular moment. They don't seem to have a real sense of direction at this point.
So Trump won by 11 points in the Bronx and in.
Yep. See, even in New York State, Trump made significant gains. See that? 11 point plus percentage point gain. 6 point percentage point gain in Manhattan. 6 points in Brooklyn. 11 points in the Bronx and 11 points in Queens.
He cut in half Biden's lead in New York. What do you say to what these individuals are saying? Do you agree with them?
Wholeheartedly. That we stopped speaking to people, we started speaking at people.
Yep. Democrats stopped speaking to people and started speaking at people. Trump's a racist. If you support MAGA, you support Hitler. Totally agree.
I think I like to say it's a cryptocurrency moment. When I first started, said I was going to invest in cryptocurrency, people laughed at me. Who's laughing now? And when I first got elected in 2022, I told the party it's public safety. People are tired of the revolving door with.
Yes. Yes. It's not that they're just letting over migrants; they're letting over criminal migrants, and they're robbing people, killing people, taking over apartment complexes. He's absolutely right. But you listen to people who like to call me what's that term they use? Oh yeah, low information voters. Oh, immigration not a problem. There's nothing wrong with immigration. Illegal immigration's always been here. Now here you have the mayor of New York City telling you, yeah, immigration is a problem, dummy.
People are constantly committing violent crimes and back on our streets. We ignored it. I talked about the affordability issue. I talked about the migrants and asylum seeker issue. I mean, Iowa caucus showed that is one of the top issues. Not hearing the people and you engaging in dialogue while individuals are fearful of affordability, losing their home, the future of their children.
Yes.
And you have
And everybody knows New York is expensive as hell to live in already.
having these intellectual conversations, and people are like saying, "What the hell are you talking about? I'm hurting," and you're asking, "Is Donald Trump Hitler or not?" It's just
Mm-hmm. You hear that, Butthurtblue? I know y'all watching. You hear that, Butthurtblue? You hear it from one of your own Democrat mayors, New York City, Butthurtblue?
just not talking to the real needs of people.
So you have been strong on those issues. I look back at the things that you were saying over the years. Obviously, you spent decades as a New York City police officer, but when you came into office, you were asked on ABC if you were concerned that being a sanctuary city was going to create a magnet to New York. And here's what you said.
Not at all. This city has always been a sanctuary city, and we've always managed those who wanted to come to New York City to pursue the American dream.
But now, you know, people see Tren de Aragua in Times Square. They see gang members and criminals who are getting arrested and getting released, put back out on the street. $6.6 billion on migrants.
New York City alone spent $6 billion on migrants. Let that sink in. $6 billion on migrants. Yet the bare minimum apartment in New York City costs $1,900 a month. Oh, and you need to make 40 times the rent. On top of the fact, that apartment might have New York City rats in them, but they charge you $1,900 a month. But Democrats in their infinite wisdom thought it was a bright idea to spend money on illegal migrants. Quite frankly, I think Van Jones is right. Trump is smarter than all of the Democrat Party combined. Just saying. Just saying.
In New York City, people complain that the city is dirty.
Yep.
What do you say to those who say that your turn on this, and you're sitting down with Tom Homan last week and talking about making us safer New York, came too late?
Well,
I'll get to that later, Adric. Mayor Adams actually gets into what they could have spent, what a fraction of that money could have done. Just a fraction of that money could have done to help New York City.
and this is why this is so important, to be able to not have a bumper sticker understanding of a policy and a person's belief, but engaging in real conversations, which we don't do that much often anymore. Sanctuary city is totally different from a man-made crisis that we saw. This is what sanctuary city states. If you're in this city and you are paying taxes, you buy a loaf of bread, you pay taxes, those are your tax dollars. You have a right to the services of the city. You have a right to the police officers. You should not be fearful to put your children in school and get health care. That's what a sanctuary city is. What a sanctuary city is not is having an unsecure border and
Yes.
allowing gang members to come in, paroling people into the country when you're telling them you can't work for 6 months or a year, and you have to be dependent on the local cities to take care of you.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The federal government told these people when they came in that you can't buy into the system for 6 months, that you have to go to these cities and the federal government will take care of you. Oh, but you know, I'm just a low information voter. Don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I guess Mayor Eric Adams is a low information photo too, huh? Let's continue.
We're saying that as a sanctuary city, if you're here and you are participating legally, you are provided the services as you start your pathway to get citizenship or legal status. That has always been what took place in this city, but it is not a safe haven for those who are committing criminal acts or trying to harm migrants, asylum seekers, and other New Yorkers.
Well, you see what Trinidad Aragua is doing in Aurora, Colorado, torturing 15 people, taking over at least a couple of apartment buildings there.
Yes. But I'm told illegal immigration is not a problem, right? I don't. DC to me, I don't know. You know what you're talking about, AB. Immigration is not a problem in this country. Oh, that's not what Mayor Eric Adams is saying, DC. And I know the Butthurt Brain Trust is watching. Is Mayor Eric Adams low information too? I'm sure this is going to be exhibit something. I forget what alphabet letter you on. I really don't give a shit. But anyway, let's continue.
What do you say to the people of your city who feel like this is out of control? You've got 11% of the Manhattan hotel rooms are occupied right now by migrants, and a lot of people out there just
11% of your hotel rooms are occupied by migrants. And not the federal government, New York City is paying for it. He's going to talk about it later. He asked for help from the federal government. They wouldn't give him any help. And New York City spent $6 billion on illegal migrants.
despite what you say about the situation, think that you let it go too far.
And listen, they were angry. And many of them were angry because they didn't understand. They said, Eric, what are you doing? Why are you allowing these buses to come in? Hey, I can't stop them from coming in. That's against federal law. Well,
you hear that? He literally couldn't stop them from coming in because it's against federal law. Thanks to the Biden administration.
Why don't you let them work like all immigrants have done and found their way? Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work. You know what, Eric? You can.
Do I need to play it again? The federal government told him those illegal migrants can't be allowed to work and pay into the system, knowing that we need the fucking numbers. Let me play that again.
Didn't even allow them their law. Well, why don't you let them work like all immigrants have done and found their way? Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work and found their way. Federal government told me, Eric, you can't allow them to work. You know what, Eric? You can't even allow them to volunteer to clean the streets, remove graffiti, and give them a stipend. That's against federal law. And
things are bad. To answer your question, sir, since we allowed a dementia patient to come in office, that's how you started paying for illegal migrants. Things are bad when a liberal judge like Judge Judy comes out and said, I wish they hadn't spent money on them Trump trials and actually spent money Totally agree. No arguments here. Let's continue.
And then I have city law that told me there's a right to shelter law. Anyone that comes in this city, anywhere on the globe, can come here and get shelter for as long as they want. I had to go to court and fight that and give a 30 and 60-day notification. That's how we dropped 220,000 that came here to now 50,000, because we said you only going to stay in our shelter for 30 days. And we fought on that. And so, yes, people were angry. They saw the headlines, look what our mayor is doing, but in reality, the mayor was handcuffed. So what I had to do was make sure my police protected those who were the victims of these crimes, and made sure that I had to follow the housing laws that were in place, but while we fought them in court.
So you have butted heads with your city council a lot on the things that you wanted to change. Their chamber is right down the hall here. You must run into each other all the time in these halls. Other mayors are taking a different tack. Brandon Johnson in Chicago and the mayor of Boston saying, we will not bend or break to the Trump mass deportation rule. This is what people in the city council meeting, these are residents in Chicago. Here's what they're saying about.
Yeah, whenever I hear a knucklehead tell me, "Oh, immigration ain't no problem," I tell them, "Okay, do yourself a favor. Don't go to Chicago and say that dumb shit. Don't you do it. Don't do it." There's a reason I say that.
Their mayor's stance on this. Watch this.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. We want a forensic.
You see what our shirt says? Butthurtblue, Chicago red. Y'all's heads are so far up the Democrat Party's ass that you literally turned part of Chicago red. Congratulations, you dumbasses. You played yourself.
Forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration.
Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And
Ooh, good question.
it's looking like you can't do the job. We need to start voting.
And let's go into I can go in a little detail why they're mad. Brandon Johnson caused a $1 billion deficit in Chicago. And the majority of that money has been shown to be spent on illegal migrants. So, as you can imagine, the residents of Chicago are pissed. That's why whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, immigration's not a problem," okay, go to Chicago and say that dumb shit. Watch around FAFO.
Different in these cities like New York and Chicago.
That last voice, we have to start voting differently in these cities like New York and Chicago. Do you see a movement happening in cities when you look at what happened in the election? And are these voices going to change these blue cities potentially into red ones?
That's a good question. And that's why I believe that the Democratic Party must ensure that they're listening to the voices of the people. The American people, they spoke loudly and clearly, and they stated that we have to secure our borders, we have to deal with the immigration crisis, and we have to address those violent individuals who come to this country. It's a privilege and a right to be in America, and if you violate that, you should not be in this country. That number.
By the way, I got 15 watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit my Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat, support the show. Are you not informed?
Of people, which I believe is a small number, are committing those violent acts like the.
Am I not informing you? Because I can guarantee you, Butthurtblue is not gonna play this and look at this objectively.
Gangs that we've mentioned should not be here.
So let's talk about the gangs. Let's talk about what you agreed to with Tom Homan. Violent criminals will be deported under the Trump mass deportation. What?
That's one of the reasons I voted for Donald Trump.
Constitutes a violent criminal? Is that someone who is accused, someone who has been convicted, someone who wears gang tattoos? You know, where do you draw the line? Did you make that line with him?
No, we did not. I thought our conversation was a great conversation. Tom and I both sat down, and we both agree on violent individuals should not remain in our country. We have laws here in the city
Completely
on
agree.
how that could be handled. My legal team is going to sit down with his legal team to make the determination if an executive order can change that. One of the things he would like to have is that's access to Rikers Island. That's the jail in our city. The law that was passed under the previous administration said that no
Under de
ICE officer
Blasio. Yep.
can be in any governmental building. There are exceptions to that. We're looking at those exceptions. That's my core issue. I've said it prior to the election. We can't allow people to come into the country or the city committing violent acts. And those numbers who are doing it, we need to address that. And I'm happy to have a partner in Tom to see how do we address that in a real way.
So
Now, this is the kind of bipartisanship I can get behind. Thank you, Adric. We've been informed. And actually, this is one of the reasons I started this channel and called myself AV Media 83, because I figured out that the majority of particularly cable news was lying to me. And after seeing enough podcasts, I was like, you know what? I may as well start reporting the news myself. And here, that's what I'm doing. So let's continue.
are gang tattoos that are TDA enough to get someone removed in that first group?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And because we got to also ensure that we're not violating the laws of our land. And the mere fact someone is wearing it should. No, it's not.
That are TDA.
To see how do we address that in a real way.
So are gang tattoos that are TDA enough to get someone removed in that first group?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And because we got to also ensure that we're not violating the laws of our land. And the mere fact someone is wearing a gang tattoo, which is an identifiable marker of this gang, is not enough to say, okay, you have a gang tattoo.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with that, because you don't know if they're causing trouble. If they haven't really done anything, and and they're paying into the system, yeah, okay, I get it.
Now you must be removed. But what we should be doing at our border, we can be making that determination. Are we going to allow you to come in? We're allowing people to come in. Think about this for a moment. We're allowing people to come in without a sponsor, without any employment, and we're telling them you can't work. So what are they going to do? We're creating a pipeline of criminality by creating these terrible criteria.
Are you going to find a
Yep. And he was forced by because of the federal government. He had to accept these people and pay for them, whether you liked them or not. I'm doing a little interview that Eric Adams did with Fox News, and he spilled a lot of tea in this interview, if you ask me. But let's continue.
way through executive orders to allow ICE to function in this city to carry out deportations?
We're going to allow them to the areas where we can allow them to do. Right now, I could allow ICE to come into Rikers Island, anything but for deportation. But allowing them access to do criminal investigation is going to help us all. But we're going to sit down with our attorneys and see what executive orders I can do to give me more power to go after those who are creating illegal acts. Now, we're going to also, I want to be very clear, we're going to also tell those who are following the law, doing the right thing, here's the pathway to participate in the citizenship and utilize the services that the taxes you are paying for allow you to utilize.
So let's go back. When you started to
look, I'm under no illusions. Immigration does not help Black people, but on the other hand, you have to understand there's not enough people right now paying into the system to keep it afloat. So it's it says BGS would say it's a Kobayashi Maru, which is a Star Trek term. It's a no-win situation.
realize that 200,000 people was too many. You said this could destroy New York City. What was the reaction that you got at the White House when you asked for help?
When we saw.
Now listen to this. All the crap that New York City is going through with the illegal migrants, they were paying for it. The federal government was not helping them.
The numbers coming in, we were getting at one time almost 8,000 a week, 16,000 every 2 weeks.
He had 16,000 people coming in, illegal migrants coming in every 2 weeks. Under what circumstance is that sustainable? But yet I was told, oh, AB, what's that you told me, DC? Oh, AB, illegal immigration ain't no problem. You don't know what you're talking about, AB. I'm just a low information voter. But here you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, the mayor of New York City's mouth.
I mean, we could just do the math, unsustainable. And at that time, the right to shelter, we were being sued by advocates that required us to give everyone a bed by a certain number of times. We were getting buses 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And we reached out to the White House, 10 trips to Washington, D.C., asking them for help in securing the border and stopping this flow. I went down to El Paso and also went down to the Darien Gap, and I saw the flow and the threat that we were receiving. We didn't get the support. We got $200 million out of a $6.5 billion deficit. And so many people believe that, okay, Eric, it's in your rearview mirror. It happened already. You got 170,000 out. No, the damage that we are going to see long term from spending $6.5 billion, $200 million could have gone to those chronically absent children. We could have put hundreds of millions of dollars into.
You know what he's saying, Adrian? That's a fraction of the money they spent on illegal immigration.
To the 230,000 out. No, the damage that we are going to see long term from spending $6.5 billion, $200 million could have gone to those chronically absent children. We could have put hundreds of millions of dollars into the senior care, helping people with medical debt relief. So when you start to look at the long-term impact of the services we did not provide, it's going to start materializing in the years to come. That is the destruction that I was talking about.
So when you had that pushback from the White House, they stopped returning your phone calls?
Prior to this crisis, I asked the president to come to New York City when we were having a crime problem, the gun problem. He came here and met with our law enforcement.
I've actually put the link to this interview in the chat. If you want to cross a knucklehead telling you, "Oh, immigration wasn't that big of a problem," I don't understand what everybody complaining about. Show them this interview.
We had a continuous conversation with the White House about on these important issues. When this issue happened and we asked for assistance over and over again, and I refused to remain silent while I was watching this city harm, we no longer received the support that we deserved. We no longer had an opportunity to communicate with the president. It was a clear statement from the White House that they didn't appear to be happy that I was standing up for the city. And other mayors should do that. Look at what happened in these other cities: Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, Houston. Cities should not be taking away the resources from their residents to handle a national crisis.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
That part. Now, that's the end of the interview. And for the record, yeah, Fox News is Fox News. They've always been Fox News. But every now and then they get it right. And trust and believe, I have never been a friend of Sean Hannity. Ever. Didn't like him back in the day, don't like him now. But these knuckleheads in the media have become so Trump deranged, they make Sean Hannity sound fair and balanced. Now, I'm not going to be here too long, but if you want to come up and talk about this issue, come talk about it. And if you ain't been watching Andre, please don't come up here. But yeah, Merrick Adams spelled it out for you. The federal government made him take these illegal migrants. 8,000 at a week at a time. $8,000 people a week into your city. I don't care how big your city is not sustainable. especially when the average rent in your city is $1,900 a month or higher. That's on the low end. I've seen apartments in New York City that couldn't have been more than 30 square feet. They want $2,000 for that motherfucker. No kitchen, small kitchen and a little bathroom. No, what? Excuse me, small kitchen and no bathroom. Mayor Eric Adams isn't lying about this kind of crap. And like he said, that $6 billion could have really turned around New York City, but no, because we as a country chose to elect a dementia patient. That money went to illegal migrants that aren't even paying into the system. It'd be one thing, if you go let them come in, at least have them pay into the fucking system. But no, they gave them welfare and said they didn't have to work. They gave them food stamps in the thousands and said they didn't have to work. But I got people telling me illegal immigration is not a problem in this country. Crazy. Got people telling me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, AB. Oh? Shout out to Mayor Eric Adams. Shout out to Governor Abbott. Because they try to put all those migrants in his city. And he wasn't having it. That's one of the reasons why New York and Chicago got all those illegal migrants. I don't blame them. But according to some people, and don't be surprised if the Butthurt Brain Trust comes up with another quote unquote low information video over what I'm talking about right here. I won't be surprised at all, but they ain't got nothing. Hell, they ain't got nothing else to make content on, I guess. They just like to steal parts of mine. I said what I said. But yeah, there's other news that's going on. I guess I could talk about Stephen. I might talk about tomorrow. Stephen A. Smith and Roly Poly got into it over January 6th of all topics, but I'll probably talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, you heard it from Mayor Eric Adams. He wanted these people to go to work and pay into the system, but the federal government said no and wanted to make New York City pay for these people. But I'm according to Butthurtblue, I'm a low information voter. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's why you lost to Donald Trump a second time. That's why he's the 47th president. By the way, hit the Cash App, support the show for this next little tidbit. I told people before Donald Trump got elected again, there's precedence for him to get elected again. Donald Trump is not the first president to lose an election and then win again. Look up, I'll type it in the chat for you. Look up the name Grover Cleveland. He was your 22nd president and your 24th president. He became your 22nd president. He was beat by Benjamin Harrison, who is from my state, Indiana, whose grandfather happened to be president, William Henry Harrison, Side note about William Henry Harrison. William Henry Harrison had the shortest term of any president. He was only in office for a month before he died of pneumonia, if I'm not mistaken. He was literally only in office for a month. And I believe that was I think it was 1841. But anyway, Benjamin Harrison beat him. Then Grover Cleveland beat him again, and Grover Cleveland became the 24th president. So Donald Trump, I warned people. I warned you, butthurt blues. Donald Trump, there's precedent for Donald Trump to get elected again. But oh no, he's stupid. Trump ain't going to get elected again. He's going to jail. He won't be in jail after January 20th. He will be your 47th president of the United States. He'll be your 47th president of the United States on January 20th. Whether Butthurtblue likes it or not. But before we get out of here, let's have a little fun. Let me pull up TikTok here. Let's see what I want. Okay, profile. And we are going to collections. Let's go look at the political. Let's look at some political jump before we get out.
You know, once they put Trump in jail, America. Once they put Trump in jail, once they put Trump in jail, America will be great again. Once they put Trump in jail, America will be great again.
Sweetheart, they're not going to put Trump in jail. He's your 47th president. Get over it.
This was started by Hillary Clinton.
Why?
She started the Tulsi because Tulsi was a rising star within Democratic.
For the record, what's her name? Megyn Kelly is a racist bitch, but she's accurate.
Politics. She had all the boxes checked. She was a woman. She was a minority. She was the first this and the first that. And she was a combat vet. Beautiful, well-spoken, like amazing. And then she started to be kind of open-minded to what Bernie Sanders was saying. And maybe had some problems with the Hillary Clinton messaging and having Hillary shoved down our throat as the Democratic nominee back in 2016.
Yes.
And spoke up about it and started to make enemies in the party because of that. And then was out.
And Democrats wonder why they lost.
Apparently, Washington, D.C. has become the Make-A-Wish Foundation for grown adults.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. How can I say this? Katoni Brown Jackson was in a Broadway play. She was in a Broadway play. Let that sink in for a minute. A Supreme Court judge was in a Broadway play.
Because Supreme Court Justice Katoni Brown Jackson, she just made her Broadway debut, and it's the most cringeworthy thing I've seen in a long time.
Female empowerment. Sick.
Yeah, that's cringe.
I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
Ma'am, do you not have better things to do? Do you not have work to do for the American people? You are.
Now, you know things are bad when Elizabeth is pointing this out. Yes, he's legitimate, but he's accurate and actually does a good job reporting on the news.
A Supreme Court justice. I guess everybody gets a participation trophy now. Kamala Harris, you want to run for president for 107 days? Go ahead. Hunter Biden, you want a pardon? Here it is. Now, the musical is called Anne Juliet, and according to my sources, it's a queer reimagining of Romeo.
Yeah, let that sink in. Katoni Brown Jackson started in a play called Anne Juliet. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, this is who Joe Biden put on the Supreme Court, y'all. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But I'll let Link continue.
Romeo and Juliet, in which Juliet runs away to Paris with a non-binary character and ends up in a love triangle. That sounds like the most woke pile of garbage I've ever heard. Now, as a recovering theater kid, I am happy she got to perform on Broadway. But why couldn't she have been in Hamilton or another musical that was more substantive? She had to do a queer reimagining of Romeo and Juliet with a non-binary character. Is this the non-binary character in the crop top? Now, I found a clip of her rehearsal, and let me just tell you, the woman is pitchy. If she had found the notes, I probably would have forgiven her. Let's take a look and then discuss.
Show me the meaning of being lonely. Is this the feeling I need to walk with?
Yeah.
Justice Jackson learned what it takes to get Broadway ready.
Now, let me just say this.
Yeah. Show me the reading. Yeah, she was flat. For those of you who don't know, I am musically trained. She was flat.
If you are a Republican, a conservative, an independent, a libertarian, anybody outside the lines of the Democratic mainstream agenda, you do not get these same opportunities. You aren't given the same grace as Katoni Brown Jackson. Democrats, they get all types of opportunities. They get praised, even when they're absolutely horrible. This is from Vogue magazine, The Grace and Promise of Justice Katoni Brown Jackson. She was photographed by Annie Leibovitz, one of the most famous photographers on earth. Can you imagine for a second if Clarence Thomas went to go perform in a musical, how the mainstream media would absolutely melt down and go apoplectic? But Katoni Brown Jackson, because she's a Democrat, Biden, Kamala, they love her, she gets a pass. Now, if you are a Supreme Court justice, you are supposed to be impartial, someone who just looks at the facts. Right now, there's a case before the Supreme Court, United States v. Skermeti, that is about transgender procedures for minors. I do not trust Katoni Brown Jackson to be impartial. If you, as a grown woman in your free time, are going to perform in a queer reimagining of Romeo and Juliet with a non-binary character, how can we trust you to be impartial in a trans Supreme Court case? Justice Katoni Brown Jackson, she's been an utter calamity for a long time. She
can't even tell you what a woman is.
Had some very concerning comments about the First Amendment, free speech, and the Murphy v. Missouri case, and I have not trusted her since. The last thing I'll say about Supreme Court Justice Katoni Brown Jackson is that she likes to think she's above the other Supreme Court justices, but the truth is she also has a multi-million-dollar book deal she's promoting right now. She's accepted.
Yeah, I would rather go talk to Clarence Thomas. It is what it is.
Thousands of dollars of Beyonce concert tickets. Now she's in a Broadway musical with a part they specifically wrote for her. That honestly seems like a bribe, if you ask me. So Katoni Brown Jackson, you live in a glass house and you're throwing stones at the other Supreme Court justices who go on trips, they go on yachts, they go on flights. You also are enjoying the amenities.
Yeah, let's see, what's more creepy? What's more creepy to y'all? Clarence Thomas getting some yacht trips or this cringy bullshit? For the record, I don't care. I don't care you got a few y'all trips. So what? It's part of the game. But this is some creepy shit.
And the privileges of being a Supreme Court justice. You have to admit that. All right, my friends, thanks for liking and following. Drop a comment. Tell me how you feel about Ketanji Brown Jackson making her Broadway debut. Everybody.
No.
No.
No. No.
That is what Democrats sound like. I'm just saying.
Well, Nancy Pelosi won't be taking a knee anytime soon. She fell down a marble staircase on a congressional trip to Luxembourg and just had a hip replacement at 84 years old.
Yep. Can't make this shit up, man. Well, yeah, that's true, Adric. Well, since nobody's gonna come up and I have an appointment in the morning, I'm going to shut this down. I would like to thank everybody that came through. This is AB Media 83, and I'm out. Peace. Yo, this is AB Media 83. Want to support the channel? Hit the Cash App. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Also, be sure to hit that bell notification so you can be notified next time I upload a live stream or video. And always remember, keep it grinding, keep it pushing, keep it moving. This is AB Media 83, and I'm out. Peace.